Every woman needs to take that universal path to find self-worth, a voice, and a cherished life. That path is the heroine's journey, the roadmap to an amazing adventure that women travel to discover their true selves. The heroine's journey is not about getting on your superpowers and going out to fight the lions, tigers, and bears of the outside world with your might. That would be the hero's journey. This woman's journey is the internal journey that a woman takes to grow her courage and strength and travel to her best life.
Heroines, so glad you're here. And I've got exciting news. The Heroine's Journey book is out and for you. It's going to show you how your life can move along so beautifully and gracefully. Go get the book now at heroinesbook.com. Journey onward.
Hi, Leilani. Welcome to the Heroine's Journey podcast. Today we have Leilani, and she's the formulator and creator of the Sweet Leilani makeup. She searched for gentle makeup infused with natural plant-based skincare to help men, women, and teens have healthy skin based on wellness and result-oriented clean beauty. So, Leilani, we would really love to hear about your heroine's journey. Like, how did the heroine's journey land on you and lead you in that direction?
Wow, it was a
big question, isn't it?
Yeah, that's quite the mouthful.
You can break it up in pieces.
Okay, we'll give you the short story. So I always wanted to work in film and TV since I was like 12, and Vancouver didn't have anything like that. So I became a hairstylist to make more money and be able to fill more jobs doing both hair and makeup. Went to LA, wanted to do special effects, got into special effects, worked with some really big names. I was there for a year and a half. I came back. Now, prior to that, when I was 15, my grandma had passed away. And I'd always done her hair and makeup. And we were at the funeral home, and I thought my mom and the funeral guy were going to fall off their chair because I said I would be doing her hair and makeup. I was adamant about that. And I did it. And I remember putting in the back of my mind, wow, I wonder I might like to work in funeral homes. But, my first passion was film and TV. So off I went to school. I came back. And, Vancouver was just taking off in the film industry, but not enough. So I thought, well, I'll go around to the funeral homes and maybe I could do makeup for loved ones. But you had to become an embalmer back then. And that wasn't something that I signed up for. So, I got a job as a waitress so that I could work my way up into the union. I got into the union and I realized that the film industry focused on glamour and nobody focused on people that needed corrective makeup for, trauma, burns, scarring, people undergoing cancer treatment. So I started volunteering at the Look Good, Feel Better program at the hospital. And I had so many women come up to me and say, do you do this in private? Would you style my wig in private? And I was doing wigs for stunt drivers. And so I started styling wigs out of a bedroom. And of course, then they needed help with makeup. And I had kit loads of makeup from film, but it was full of chemicals. It was full of gunk. So I think I was a little ahead of the curve in even knowing what vegan, gluten-free, fragrance-free, clean ingredients would mean, even to the everyday woman today. So I went down a rabbit hole researching ingredients, good and bad, and came up with a skincare cover stick. I sold it in the film industry to every makeup artist. I was selling it to the cancer patients that were coming to the bedroom to help with them. And then I thought, wow, what about everyone who's been burned or scarred? So I started going around to plastic surgeons in the burn and trauma unit. And then I realized I needed more products. They were sending me people who literally had been set on fire, and I needed more products. So then, I thought, wow, well, how hard could it be to create the rest of the line, and how hard could it be to take it to market? Well, it was very hard.
It's hard, yeah.
But like I said, I'm still alive in the market today because I think there was a need for it. We're bombarded with superficial standards. And nobody targeted, just women that needed to look good or feel good for other reasons, not as a cover up, not as a beauty product, but something that helped them inside heal and move forward in life.
It
I
sounds
love
like
it. I love it that that's true entrepreneurism, where you saw a need and you didn't necessarily know how to fill it, but
No.
you just kind of followed your nose because you knew and you watched as people responded to what you were doing. You knew, oh my gosh, this is needed. This is how I can help. This is
Yeah.
my specialty.
In the early days, I would go around to the doctors and they were men, and they would say they just need to get on with their lives. It's just makeup. And I would have men hugging me, crying, saying, "My wife will go out in public again. You've given us our life back." And so that's what kept me going. That was the drive that I knew that, and it wasn't that they needed it to cover up to go out in public. It was more that it was therapy on the inside. Like, you know what it's like. We have a bad day, a bad hair day, and it affects us. Like, so can you imagine, somebody who's been really through some trauma or, scarred or even undergoing cancer treatment? Like, they just want to feel good. And to feel good, they need to look in the mirror and look good to themselves.
And the heroine's journey, the theme of the heroine's journey is to claim your self-worth so you can use your voice. And you can't claim your self-worth if you're shaming yourself or hating yourself or belittling yourself, or you just want to crawl under a coffee cup and make your light go away.
So true.
You can't.
No,
So it's an essential element of having women be totally able to live their life.
absolutely.
Totally.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Was there something in your background that caused you, way back in the beginning of your story, to even want to do the makeup for your grandmother? Was there something that you went through that just inspired you to see through the lens of, I can help here?
I'm asked that all the time if I've been touched or, personally with cancer or some kind of traumatic accident. And, thank God I haven't been, and I'm very grateful for that. But at that time, I just remember blurting it out. I was the one that did her hair and makeup all the time. So why would somebody else be doing it? And I just kind of, I blurted it out. And then once I did it, I went in there and it was like, I went to work, I did it, and I didn't shed a tear until I left. And I remember thinking, if I can do my grandma, I could do anybody. I could do anything.
Because I want to honor your courage, because it must be difficult. My father said to me, because he was in the healthcare industry, he said, you should go into nursing. And I was like, but I don't like blood. It just obviously wasn't my calling. But
Right.
you've had to have courage to be able to stand next to, be involved with, hear the stories of so many people that are there because they need what you can offer them.
Yeah, and I was never worried. I'd never with the blood or anything. It never affected me. Uh, I went to school to take special effects. So if anything, I loved creating these kind of scary effects and injuries. And that's what's so ironic is I've gone full circle in my life to covering up what I used to create when I was 19, So yeah, that's pretty crazy in itself.
Did Erin share with you that she came out of and is still involved in the film industry in LA?
Yes, we did
there is
speak.
of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have a lot of good friends still in LA. They come up and for years have come up, and it was cheaper to film up here. So there's a lot of directors and production companies that I've been with from day one, and we've been together for like, gosh, since I was like 19, 20. Yeah, crazy.
Wow.
It's interesting. It's sort of like as film was coming into Vancouver, you were sort of pivoting away from it and being like, I have a higher calling. I want to do more than just the special effects makeup, so to speak. And I wonder for you if, because you doing your grandmother's makeup the last time was sort of your gift to her, your remembering of her. Um, and it feels a little bit like as you've pivoted into this new area and taken on the task of finding makeup and ingredients that help basically anybody to gain their self-worth back, that you sort of are continuing on with that gift. You're continuously paying it forward, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I think it's just me. I have the compassion for that, but interesting enough, it's blown into a whole other bubble, because now it's about what these toxins are doing to our bodies. You've got girls going through puberty that it's affecting their hormones, their breast tissue, their menstrual cycles. You've got women who are trying to have babies, and these toxins are affecting their reproductive systems. We spoke about being in menopause. Our bodies are already going through havoc. Why do I want to create more havoc on the body with these toxins from these beauty products that we're using daily? We need to talk more about what is in our products, and companies have to be more transparent. And, we need to educate that our health is being affected big time.
Right. What's going on from all these chemicals and food additives and all that. So maybe we're getting closer to the conversation because
I hope
it
so.
needs to be had.
I hope so, because I didn't start learning about it until when I was doing cancer patients. And I was styling their wigs, and I tattoo areolas on after breast reconstruction. And it was them talking about how these chemicals are affecting their endocrine system and their hormonal fluctuations, and how some of them were going plant-based. They weren't even going the medical route. They were going, and I don't advocate that, I'm not in any way advocating which way or another, but I'm just saying we need to start talking about how I look at beauty now. Like, I want to redefine what beauty means. I want to take a holistical approach, and have it be our inner and outer well-being.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah, we need to talk about it more.
I think what's so fascinating too, it's so full circle because as young women, we're taught you can't be beautiful without our cosmetics that we want to sell you. And you're like, oh, okay, you
Yeah.
know? It's like when I wrote my first book, A Girl Needs Cash, I wrote to Glamour and Vogue and a couple other magazines and said, I'd like to write a column for you about women and money. And they came back to me and they said, oh, our readers aren't interested in that.
Yeah.
So my point is that, you know, other people, mostly men who own the women's magazines, tell us what we need to know.
Right.
Whereas you're taking it in a whole new way, where you're saying, not you need me to be more beautiful, but let me help your whole health.
Mhm.
Because if you're healthy from within without these toxins, then your inner beauty and you will shine. Heroines, thanks for being with me. There's a really big idea that I want to tell you about, and that's the heroine's journey. Are you like worried or concerned about your life? I was. Has something big come along and just rocked you? Maybe thrown your apple cart straight up in the air. And when you ask yourself, are you really living the life of joy, prosperity, and freedom that you want to live? You know, life is for us to enjoy, not for us to suffer through. And that's what the heroine's journey is all about. It's your roadmap to a life that you love. You can have it. It's at theheroinesbook.com. I've written it for you. I can't wait for you to read it. And I'd love you to give me your feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what our mission is. Like the products come second. They're plant-based, they're vegan, they're gluten-free, fragrance-free, they're sustainable. We use recycled sugar cane for tubes, all of that. But what I educate is what does clean beauty really mean? Like, let's dig deep and let's talk about that. And then if you then want to purchase from me, absolutely. But let's talk about why I sell what I sell and what I do. That's kind of my mission.
Yeah,
Now,
to educate, not to
yeah,
not to make a profit or to take money out of someone else's pocket, but to educate.
exactly.
And what you just said, it makes me laugh because what you're honestly saying is that in the commercial cosmetic industry, we're being sold dirty beauty.
Yeah. Well, and this is a whole other topic, and once you start me going, I won't stop, but I'll just touch on it. Is what annoys me as the smaller company is that these companies walk a fine line, and that do you know that if I source my raw ingredients from the supplier, if he harms animals, but I don't harm them in my lab, you can say you're cruelty free.
Wow.
Right? So where are people sourcing their micas? They're having children go into the mines because they're small. They fit into the cracks to source the mica that's in your powder. But these big companies, aren't saying anything. They can tell you that we're fine. We do everything correct in the lab, but it's like, really? And they get away with this stuff,
They go with the letter of the law, not the spirit of the law.
Yeah, or the intention for health, well-being, goodness, I mean, I imagine right up front, you're teaching women to embrace their self-worth and to honor their own beauty, their own innate beauty.
Right. And, menopause even used to be so taboo. And I created plant therapy, which were some serums specifically for myself, quite honestly. Being in menopause, our skin is, dry, parched, gray, you name it. And I was saying to Erin that I went down a rabbit hole when I started researching the ingredients and what we needed in menopause and hearing what women went through in menopause more than that affected me, thank goodness. I was like, oh my God, we need to talk about this more because it shouldn't be taboo, right? So yeah, it's a big umbrella that all of this comes under.
And so many of us experience such a different experiences in menopause. Yes. I was telling Erin, and she was like, "Damn you," because I said to my mother, "So what did you experience when you went through that? Like, what was it like?" And she said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "When you went through menopause, like, did you have symptoms, or was it uncomfortable, or whatever?" And she said, "What are you talking about?" And truth be told, she had no symptoms going through menopause, and I also had none.
Wow. Yeah, and I've been very
Then you
fortunate.
contrast it all the way over to other women who it turns into a terrible, it might be even the start of their heroine's journey, because they so fall apart around the emotion and the discomfort, and you don't sleep, and that could well be the start of your heroine's journey, because you're coming unglued. You don't feel like yourself.
Oh, absolutely. That's in it by itself. And you couple that with midlife, divorce, depression, and now you're, like Erin was saying earlier, you're stuck. Now you're stuck, which that's when it gets hard, because women then are trapped. They feel trapped, and it's really hard to get out.
And you have multiple things to deal with. Like you say, add divorce on top of it or a job loss or whatever.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, which is the whole message of the heroine's journey is that, hello, you just started your heroine's journey. Now let's talk about how you move on.
Right.
What can you do next? What's your next step? Because like you're describing in your own company, you know, the long term of the heroine's journey is to create your stability. So you got knocked crazy with menopause and other things that happen because it usually doesn't happen in one. It's usually two or three that go along with it.
Yeah.
I can't figure that out. I have to ask that later in life why that is. But anyway, that's usually the case. And so
Right.
you create your stability. And when you are totally taken apart like that, and so many of the women that you're treating, whether it's cancer or, you know, burns or whatever, the start of their heroine's journey was that dramatic event. They're just like, oh my, freaking out. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So that's the first step. And we call it create your stability because you literally have to get your feet back on the ground.
Oh, I like that. Right. Yeah.
But the good news, it's actually a gift that you didn't even imagine as a gift until 10 years later you can look back. Because what it did is, for me, I always say I was a hard nut to crack because it was like a 2x4 that hit me across the back of my head when I went through the major upset in my life. But it opened me up to thinking differently, to asking new questions, to being more aware of what made me happy or what it just it broke my carefully designed, engineered plan that I could completely control my life.
Wow, I like that.
And like you, people stepped in to help me because truly at that period of time, I couldn't help myself. And then the next of the four milestones are that you awaken your authenticity. And I'm sure in the women that you've been dealing with, you see them become more authentic, more real, more um,
We're alive again.
more alive, yeah, more in their own body, more intent to please themselves and not everybody else. To
Mhm.
let that beauty from within shine and really forget the judgments of the people outside.
Right.
That was huge for me because I so designed my life around, oh my gosh, I have to be, you know, perfectly dressed and this and that so I can win the game.
Yes, it's a game of life for sure.
And then when it all fell apart, I was like, okay, who am I?
Mm.
Okay, so if I own my life, what do I want my life to look like? And that's when you get a lot more authentic. Then you move into the next step, which is to light up your gifts. And that's what I'm focusing on with your story because you're way down that path. You've lit up, lighted up whatever your gifts, you know, and you're using those. You're not just out there to make money. You're out there, which by the way is a necessity, particularly back in the create your stability. Money
Mhm.
is important back there.
Right.
Get to
Right.
the point later on where you are, where you can say to yourself, how can I serve? What is it? What are my gifts? My gifts are makeup. My gifts are hair, you
Mhm.
know? And so what I was asking you earlier was, you know, how did you find those gifts and why did they wake up in you? And how were you smart enough to follow them and not say, oh, instead of doing hair, I'm going to go be an accountant? You know, or I'm going to do something unrelated to my gifts.
I think it was because I was never book smart. I always struggled in school. And that's why never in my life did I ever think that I would have a company or even think that I could have a company. It just wasn't on the radar. Um,
Uh-huh.
and then I was more creative, obviously, and I was good at what I did, and I loved what I did, and
That's
and
a really good clue because you
yeah,
own your own life on the heroine's journey. You get to love your life.
right. And it was
It's a
more
God-given thing for you to love your life.
right. Yeah. So it was kind of like, okay, well, I have this talent. I should be able to help people like somebody else who's maybe book smart to help people. And you know what? Even when the kids were growing up, I was always like, I don't care about grades. As long as you're doing your best,
Uh-huh.
and that, you find a skill and you use that skill to help others.
Mhm.
That that was my main message. And
Mhm.
um they got to see the work I did and stuff. And so, I was very humbled early in my career, and my kids were very humbled early in their lives. And, you know, they grew up with, you have nothing to bitch about, nothing, you know,
No. Yeah.
get out there and do your thing. You've got it good. So, um,
So you've actually had the different destinations of the heroine's journey, including where you are right now, which is the fourth one.
yeah,
First, it's create your stability. Then it's awaken your authenticity. Then it's light up your expression. And then the fourth one is make your contribution.
yeah. I just love that. That is so amazing. Like,
And that's
yeah,
where you sit right now. And is there anything better in life than making your contribution out of your gifts?
no,
I don't
no,
think.
no, not
Uh,
at all. Not at all. And, everybody has something they could do. They have
uh-huh.
something. I think we need to, yeah, we need to learn from all each other. We need to be more kind. Um, we're losing control of a lot of things with technology and everything today. And, now you sound like the old person talking about how life is changing with technology and everything. But you see it in the kids. You see it how people don't come together anymore like they used to, I
Uh-huh.
still like to pick up the phone. I'd rather talk to you than send you 5 emails. You know what I mean? Like, just pick up the phone. Let's just,
Let's chat.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let's chat. Because I want that feeling of connection,
Mhm,
you know.
mhm.
And that is a heroine. Heroine wants the people around her to totally love her so that every day when you get up, you're kind of like, oh wow, like I got up this morning saying, oh wow, I get to talk to Erin and Yvonne's good friend, and
Ah,
it lights up my day.
yeah, yeah.
Whereas at another time in my life, I'd get up and I'd think, I hope I don't see that person, and I don't like that person, and this creates a problem for me. That's not
Um,
the way you're supposed to live. Because I think one thing that we really forget as women is that we're not supposed to live in a trash compactor.
mm,
We're supposed to get out of the trash compactor. Problem is the directions are on the outside of the box.
right,
But
right.
I think so many times we've been taught and or at least made to believe that we should suppress our own desires. And if our life is miserable, oh well, just carry on.
Mm,
Suck it up, princess.
right. Yeah. And I
Whereas
think, sorry,
whereas one thing we're saying and you're saying is no.
no. And I think a lot of women get trapped in just life, the everyday, and then they at the end come out the other end and the kids are gone and they look at each other, husband and wife, and it's like, who are you? Because the woman got trapped in, caught up in everything, her day-to-day chores, her day-to-day structured agendas. And then one day everybody's gone and she wakes up and says, well, what's left? What do I have?
And
Um,
and she wasn't a heroine because a heroine owns her own life. Her
right.
A heroine measures her pleasure and joy and freedom and prosperity. And what I love about what you're doing is that you're helping women to be out of that box, around them that robs them of their self worth.
Right. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Yeah. So
So
that's me in a
tell
nutshell.
us about, pardon?
That's me in a nutshell.
Tell us about your product line now, what it consists of, and also where you see it going in the future.
Yeah. So right now, we have an entire brand of mostly skincare infused complexion products. we have a few lipsticks and a few glosses and what have you, but I excel at face complexion products and skincare. So as a formulator of plant-based botanicals, that's all I use. So everything is plant-based. It's pure, it's potent, it's vegan, it's gluten-free, fragrance-free. Like I said, right now we distribute to drug and grocery and health food stores in Canada. We have a small few pockets in the US. But pre-COVID, we had to do a 360 and learn about e-commerce and get online. Now our big focus is to spread the word more through the US now and have a voice into the US through our online channels.
So tell us the name of your company and your website.
So it's Sweet Leilani Cosmetics, and it's sweetleilani.com. Sweet Leilani. My LinkedIn is, I've got Leilani Kopp and Sweet Leilani. So yeah, you can get in touch with us any which way. We do online consulting so that, if you have an issue or you're struggling or you're undergoing some kind of treatment and have side effects and need help, email us and we can set up consult appointments so that we can chat and help you through your struggles. And that's all free of charge. And yeah.
And then can people buy from your website?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So they can consult with you, and then if there's something they need, for instance, if they've had a burn or something like that, you can, even in the United States.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We actually have a distribution warehouse in the US as well. So it would ship from the US.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, which is nice for shipping because it's too costly from Canada.
Now, are you Canadian or American?
Canadian.
Canadian.
We're born. Yeah.
So you just came down here to be in the film industry?
Yeah, I came to go to school. Yeah. So I stayed a year and a half. I was very fortunate to work with some big names. Yeah, it was very exciting at that young age. And but then, like I said, quickly learned that, it was all about glamour. And yeah. And me on another turn.
And isn't that interesting that the whole message of our economy is you can't to be glamorous unless you buy our product.
Right.
I sort of think that God made me good enough.
Yeah.
When I came rolling down the birth canal.
No, absolutely. I was saying to Erin how beautiful her skin is. And she says she's a minimalist.
Minimalist.
Which is wonderful. As long as you're protecting your skin, feeding your skin, and hydrating your skin, because the environment is now so full of, toxins that we do need to protect our skin, and especially going into menopause. But that doesn't mean you cover it up with foundation and everything. It just means, make sure that you have a really good cleanser that's getting all those toxins off. Make sure that you have a really good moisturizer or even a primer to help protect your skin from the environment. And that's it. And, it doesn't have to be 9 different products. Myself, you'd be lucky if you see me carrying a lipstick in my purse. I'm one that I slap something on and then I'm out the door and that's it. So my products are very multitasking. Our foaming cleanser is a body wash, face wash, dry makeup remover, and a shampoo. Throw it in the shower, done, everything off. And as well as some of our other products, because it shouldn't be difficult. It shouldn't be a lot. And that's another thing. The population 20s to, well, probably 15 to 30 is bombarded with these products that you're supposed to have 9 products at night, to put on and 20 in the morning to put on. That's ridiculous. Do you know how many chemicals in a day you're putting on?
Yeah. But the heroine has to wake up and realize the game that's being played. And the game that's being played is that women It's a good idea to keep a woman a victim because then you can tell her what she needs. So if I tell you that you can't be beautiful without my product, you know, then
Right.
you're not thinking for yourself. So, and by the way, use your credit card when you buy it because that keeps you a victim too. But the truth be told is that the whole economy, we are the economy.
Yeah.
Women buy what depreciates.
Ah,
Men buy what appreciates.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Wow.
the whole idea is to keep us as rabid consumers.
Right.
And that's one of the things the heroine has to wake up to. And you're so conditioned and schooled in it. I know I have to rein myself back from being a consumer.
Mhm.
You know, it's in our DNA because of all the messaging and advertising and all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
that
It's
we
easy to
want to
get.
buy.
Mhm.
And, you know, some maybe got a little more better education in that, but I'm so impulsive. In fact, I'm so impulsive that I have never in my life had a credit card.
Wow.
I pay cash,
Wow.
even for cars,
Well, at least you can acknowledge that and
because it's more difficult to get cash out of your wallet and hand it over than it is to slide that plastic across the
yeah,
thing.
you said it.
Well, that doesn't mean I don't carry a debit card because I do carry a debit card. So, I can make an online purchase or I can, get Uber.
Right.
But the point of it is that the point I'm really making is that you're really fighting a battle because women are taught to buy so much. And you're saying, no, 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 it's much simpler than this,
Mhm.
And by the way, this is going to be much healthier for you.
Right. Right.
Those are new messages that are not in the normal stream of programming that women get as consumers because the intent is to keep us as a victim, so we'll buy more because we are the economy. If
Yeah.
women stopped buying for a week, which would
Mhm.
be a fun thing to do.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah, no, we drive the grocery industry, the clothing industry, the beauty industry. Absolutely. Yeah, you nailed it.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it does take some real education, which is part of our mission, part of your mission, part of, you know, part of what we need to do as women to become heroines.
Absolutely. That's why it's wonderful with the platforms like that you and Aaron have is amazing, and the heroine's journey and the story. And yeah, you're doing it. You're educating, you're getting the word out, you're helping, and that's what it's all about. Amazing.
Well, you're doing it too, heroine.
Trying.
Where do you see yourself in, say, 5 years or 10 years in terms of like your mission?
Well, I really hope to funny enough have a podcast.
Oh,
Yes. Going to take a little bit of research. I'll have to pick your brains because that's a whole nother ball game that I know nothing about. But I do think that I have a lot to say, and I could bring together a group of men, women, and medical professionals that could help spread my mission about redefining beauty and bringing a more holistic approach to your inner and outer beauty.
I
Uh,
love it.
that's probably where I see myself.
We're happy to be a resource.
Thank you.
And by the way, we we started ours of this year,
I
and
heard.
it's gone well, and it's so fun. We
Yes.
love to be able to meet and talk to people like you and Yvonne and, share these ideas that so many times we've not talked about. I mean, when was the last time you took your girlfriend to lunch and said, "What are you doing financially? How many credit cards do you have?
Yeah.
What strategies are you using that are really working?"
Yeah. Yeah.
There's still a lot of conversation to be had. So we'll come be on your podcast too.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Aw. Hmm.
Okay, so I'm kind of circling back to where we started, but the question that I still have for you is, and this is kind of, I guess, for me at a point in my life where I'm looking at this is what I've done, but maybe this isn't where I'm supposed to be anymore. And so my question to you is, you started on the special effects makeup thing, and you were kind of on the side doing the other makeup. When you decided to pivot, what what was your thought process there? How did you find the courage, the certainty to make that pivot into something that was completely different?
I think it was because I was in the trenches working with these patients. I was seeing them crying. I was seeing them come alive. I was seeing them, feeling them hug me. I heard from their families, and I knew that there was nothing out there like it, and I needed to push forward. And there were so many doors closed. Like I said, the doctors, the men, that was just makeup, get on with their lives. When I was sustainable and sourcing packaging, and I honestly think I was probably one of the first to market with the craft cardboard packaging. And I even had printers telling me, oh, that's not going to fly, like a beauty product in craft cardboard. But I knew that I had to stay true to why I started this, because I think if I had set out to have a company, I'm in makeup, it probably would have been glitz and glamour. But because of what I was doing, I had to stay true to what I was doing and why I was doing it. And it, yeah, just not stay in my lane. I would see all these other companies and they get so far ahead, and I wasn't, because back then, what, clean makeup, like vegan, what's that? Cruelty free? Well, okay. It was a tough, but I just knew that I was on the right path because of the people I was working with. And so I just kept saying, I've got to stay in my lane. I've got to stay in my lane. Forget about everybody else. Just keep moving forward. So it really was as simple as that, quite honestly.
You
Well,
had
what I hear you say is that you intrinsically knew that you were serving.
I
You
think
intrinsically knew that your life was meaningful in the work that you were doing because you could see women's faces light up or people's faces light up when you came into their life and offered your gift.
right. But I never thought of it as serving or having to. It's just weird. It was just a calling. Like I just had this compassion that I just had to do it. I mean, I don't mean to pat myself on the back and be like, oh, I was, it I was in the throes of it, and I had to do it. Like, how could I not? It was more like that. How could I not help these people when I have this skill set that I can help?
Uh-huh. To me, that's the definition of capitalism and profitability. And it's not selling something somebody doesn't need or doesn't want or makes them ill. It's when you get so hooked. It's a calling, like you said, it's a mission.
Yeah, yeah. I know it sounds so simple.
But so many women do for the first half of their life, they do what they think they can make money at. And then all of a sudden they say, but that's not really me.
Right.
In that middle, because you got slammed somehow on the heroine's journey, then you start to say, but wait a minute, what are my authentic talents?
Yeah. Yeah. And if I had created a glitz and glamour line, I would have been dead in the water. The competition is right. I'm still ahead of the curve because we are one of few that tick all the boxes in the arena of what clean really means. And the people that understand what clean means, they understand, they get it, and they purchase. They find us, they seek us out because they know, there's it's a growing population that is starting to understand and educate themselves and make the change. So I always say, make one small change. The next time your foundation is out, buy a new foundation that's clean. You don't have to throw your whole makeup bag out all at once. It's too overwhelming. But you know what? Just come visit our site, research, educate yourself, and make one change. Blow out one of those beauty products at a time.
I love that. It's simple and it's doable.
Did that answer your question there?
Yes,
Right.
it did. It did. I think, Leilani, you were lucky in that you had, like, when, not to get melodramatic, but when you were staring into the darkness, to the abyss, and you're like, okay, can I keep doing this? I don't know. Like, I've stumbled over this and I've stumbled over that. You had the people that you had worked with who were cancer victims or burn victims or just some sort of skin problem, and seen the effect. And so you had, like, if anything, I would think that would continue to be your true north. Like, you could always circle back to that and go, okay, I know that all of this is going crazy, but I know that is where I'm going, and I can keep moving in that direction.
Yeah. And I think too, because they weren't the word victims. They weren't victims. They were survivors. And they gave me so much. They humbled me. They showed me what true strength is and what life is about. And that made me want to help them more, because they were the true survivor in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're inspiring.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. They got right into your heart.
No, I know, because I was thinking, man, we've covered a lot here. Yeah, we dug deep and got a lot out, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, and keep doing what you guys are doing, and yeah, I definitely will pick your brain down the road. Not quite yet. I'm not there yet, but yeah, I think that's the next big goal to go to.
Well, to all of our listeners, thanks for being with us today. We get to explore with you the heroine's journey, and as we've talked about, the steps and who a heroine is, and why it's important for us to own our own lives. So we'll be back next week. In the meantime, I'd like you to please remember that I have a new book out. It's called The Heroine's Journey: The Art of Becoming the Heroine of Your Own Life. So that's very exciting. It has been a journey for me to do that too. It's available currently. You can go to our website and find it. That's at walkthejourney.com. And come back next week where we'll have more to talk about. Journey onward.
That is this week's episode of The Heroine's Journey. You can access the blog post for this episode along with other great resources at walkthejourney.com. Also, get your free ebook at walkthejourney.com so you can say goodbye to just surviving and turn into thriving. Join us next week for another fun, inspiring, and uplifting episode. If you love this episode, feel free to subscribe and give us a review on iTunes. Stay in touch on other social media platforms, Instagram and our Facebook group, both at The Heroine's Journey LLC. Until next time.